So today we are going to start a weaving and we're going to be making a little pouch. So it's going to be two-sided little pouch. And what you're going to need is a loom. This is just a cardboard loom where I have little notches kind of cut from the top and the bottom. You're going to need a string to wrap it, and this is going to be the warp string. And then eventually you're going to need your needle and more yarn, okay? But we're going to start off with this step one, which is wrapping our loom. So what I like to do is I have my name on it already with a piece of just tape. And then I'm going to take this little end piece, and it's kind of like a little tail. I'm going to find the first notch and floss through, like you're flossing your teeth, and leave a little tail. Now if you just leave it like this, it should hold, but I like to make sure it's really good. So I like to wrap it around and go through the hole or the notch, and I like to do that 2 times. Okay, so it's not going anywhere. Then I'm going to take it and go to the opposite end and go through that notch. Then I turn it around, find the next notch here, go through that, turn it around, go to the next notch, turn it around, and you're going to do this until basically get to the other end. So one thing you may notice is one side's a little more straight and the other side's more diagonal. This is a little more diagonal. Don't worry about that. When we take this off the loom, it will straighten itself out. So I want you to notice too, they're pretty tight, but they're not so tight that I can't move them, okay? So just kind of be aware of that. And then you just want to go to all of them. You make sure you get it down in there. If they are just loosely sitting at the top, they could slide off. So always make sure you kind of notch them through. And then once you get to the end, we're going to end it just like we began it. So I have one more down here and the very top. So I'm going to wrap it around once, twice, and then cut this off and leave a little tail. So if these little tails bother you, you could always tape them down, and that's fine. I'm going to leave mine just the way it is. Then I'm going to choose my second color, and it could be any color you want. And one end you're going to tie around the warp strings. So the black strings are the warp strings. So I am going to go under, I kind of cross it over the gray, and I'm going to go through this little loop here and tighten it. So I have one end tightened to the end of the string, and the other one I'm going to go around my needle. So some people like to just take the end like this, and that works most of the time, but if it starts to fray, it makes it difficult. So I think it's just easier to start with like a little loop like this, and then I'm going to take that through the eye of the needle, kind of scoot it through, and then you're going to knot it on. So I go around my circle, through the loop, and pull. And now I'm going to start weaving. So when I weave, I'm going to do the over, under technique, which is really basic. So I like to usually consider my first knot an over. So since that's an over, I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. And then I'm going to pull that all the way through and push down. Now this is the only time it's going to matter what you did on this side, okay? So my last one here was an over. So I'm going to turn it around, and since that last one on this side was an over, I'm now going to do an under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and do that same method all the way across, and then pull my string and push down. So that's the only time it matters what you did on this opposite side over here, which meant under that way, because when we take this off, if it's the same, then what you're going to have is a big slit at the bottom, and everything you put in your pouch will fall out. We don't want that to happen. So now I'm going to turn it over. Now this string is not going to make it all the way to the end, so I could either take it off now or later, but I'm going to take it off now because it's not going to make it. Here we go. So I've got in my end string here, and then I'm going to get my new color, Okay, I'm gonna crisscross it, kind of like I'm gonna tie a shoe and go through. So that'd be the first one. And then rather than do a bow right now, I'm gonna crisscross the yellow over the gray, through the little hole, and pull. Okay, so now it's like the gray becomes this marigold color. And then the other end, I'm gonna fold like I did at the very beginning, make a little loop, go through the eye of the needle, go around my fingers, back through so it's secure to the needle, and then continue. So remember, I don't have to, it doesn't matter what I did on the back side. All that matters now is that I'm going to do an opposite weave. So last time I started off with an over and then under, okay? See how the gray's over and then under the black here? So since that was an over last time, I'm now gonna do the opposite, which is under. And then opposite here, over, under, over, under, over. And I'm just using my fingers to kind of pick up these. Pull it all the way through. I'm gonna get that little knot coming up real quick. There it goes. I'm gonna pull it as far as I can and then push this down. Turn my weaving around and look at my opposite. My opposite here was an under, then over. So I'm gonna do the opposite. So since that was an under, I'm now gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and pull it through. And you're gonna continue this until you run out of the string, and you wanna switch colors, anything like that. And you just keep weaving opposites. Now you'll know you made a mistake. Let's make a mistake on purpose. My last one here. I'm just weaving, I'm not thinking, maybe I'm talking, I don't know. And I'm weaving this, and I push it down, and you see that black string? Look at how they're both going under. I can really see that. That tells me I made a mistake. So I'm going to reverse, pull that through, and then start it over. So my last one was an under, so I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and pull it through. So you can see how this one's over and the yellow is under. And I turn it around and keep going and going and going until I run out of string, and you can add the same color or switch the color, whatever you'd like. And if you only get 3 rows up here today, I'm totally fine. Have a good time.